Is Victor Wembanyama being set up for failure? Well, let's talk about that.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everybody, this is Nathan Ray Clark from Criminal Minds and Modern Family, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs, hosted by Victor Wembanyama's new best friend, Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kansas 5 San Antonio. I am glad to have you back. Hope you're having a great work week, getting it over with. Weekend's right around the corner. Hang on in there. We'll get you right through it. And you made the smart decision coming back here on Locked On Spurs, your show each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available on YouTube. And again, we always thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first stop each and every day. Hey, what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about Wembanyama, Draymond Green. Yeah, what did Draymond Green have to say about the Spurs rookie? Well, basically that he feels that there's a lot of pressure on this kid and that he could be being set up for failure. We're going to react to that. Also get into some Spurs news, including a small trade, but also it does signify exactly what the Spurs are doing in the short term. We're going to discuss all those details right here on Locked On Spurs. But yeah, so Wemby, I think what we just saw recently from Draymond Green and he giving his opinion about the Spurs rookie is just kind of foreshadowing exactly what Wemby is going to be facing in his year one. Expectations, people gunning for him, and anything short of spectacular, he may get heavily criticized for this. Remember, this is supposed to be the next generational player that's coming to the NBA. This is the Spurs' next all-franchise guy. I mean, you slap a label on him as far as him being the next, that's Wembanyama at just 19 years old. So not only does he have the expectations of the NBA, the city of San Antonio, the Spurs, a whole country of France, I mean, for himself, that bar is set high, and he hasn't even played a minute in a regular season NBA game yet. All eyes going to be on him this Friday when the Spurs and start off their Vegas Summer League. So what I'm trying to get at is he's almost stuck in a rock and a hard place. If he succeeds and is all that, then no problem. We're good to go. Worthy of number one pick, worthy of all the labels me slapped on him. But there's also anything short of spectacular that I think outside of San Antonio, we might start hearing some criticism. Oh, he's not all that. Oh, what if he doesn't cook in the summer league? What if he's subpar against the summer league talent? There's that. There's hitting the rookie wall. There's taking his bumps and bruises along the way. What if he goes for a few games straight and his shot is just off? You can see that coming already. Draymond Green just feels like the tip of an iceberg as far as those lofty expectations that are set for Wembanyama. Would it be a failure if your number one pick, who's supposedly generational, averages 17 points and 8 rebounds in his rookie season? How does that stack up to the labels of being all world? The next guy, the best guy since LeBron James. What if he has, kind of a rocky start to his NBA career? Are you going to slap the B word on him, bust at the end of his first season? I hope not. But, that just goes to show you, and Draymond Green is just an example to let you know that, under a microscope, and it's a very fine microscope that he's going to have to walk, that being Wembanyama. Good news is that the Spurs are going to help nurture him along the way. And they're probably going to let him develop at his own pace. They're probably not going to rush him. And that's probably going to be much to the chagrin of Spurs fans who feel like, no, get him going now. Build him a team now. And get him up to those lofty expectations. Let him have a deep playoff run now. But unfortunately, the Spurs already told everybody exactly what their plan is to do in year one. So why even bicker? They said they're going to let this team cook together as of right now, barring any type of future big trade. But yeah. I mean, think about this. Where were you at 19 years old with having an entire world of expectations heaped on you to the magnitude that we're seeing a 19-year-old teenager, Victor, having to deal with right now? The good news is he seems to be open about it. He seems to embrace it. He got a big taste of it in France as being the guy in the French league, being what all teams, were defending and what his team, the Mets 92, were building around. But yeah, I just feel that Draymond Green's comments is just the first of many, many eyebrow-raising questions that not only are his fellow NBA players are going to be having about the kid, but everybody on the outside world, looking in from media to fans to you to me to our guests. Yeah, that bar is set high. Yeah, hopefully he can do that. So to help me discuss more about that and some Spurs news, we're going to bring in our guest. He is Michael Jimenez of the Acquired Taste YouTube show. And make sure to follow him on Twitter. You see it on your screen, MJ Acquired Taste. Jimenez, welcome to Locked On Spurs. By the way, we have lofty expectations for you here to deliver on this episode of Locked On Spurs. And the first one you already succeeded is you showed up. You didn't ghost me. So that's good.
Yeah. In fact, I was about 30 minutes early today because you were 30 minutes late. So no.
But hey, at least I gave you a heads up. I gave you ample heads up. But all kidding aside, yes, Jimenez is making up for his absence a few days ago. So welcome to Locked On Spurs, Jimenez. Hey, we're going to talk about the Spurs trade later on in the show, but kind of one of the bigger topics right now is what Draymond Green had to say with Paul George on Paul George's podcast and his opinion on Victor Wembanyama, specifically that he's being set up for failure. Again, I don't know where you stand on what Green had to say. I'm going to take the side of Green maybe is being a little bit too premature. But before we hit record, you're saying you get what Draymond is saying.
No, I do get it. And I know Spurs fans hear that word failure and get upset about it, right? Because you don't want to associate the generational talent that Victor Wembanyama is with the word failure. But I understand what Draymond's saying. What he's basically saying is that the lofty expectations are so huge. Think about the fact that Wemby's being called the greatest prospect since LeBron James, maybe going all the way back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And at one point, there was an ESPN talking head. I think it might have been Woj or somebody saying that the biggest prospect in team sports history. So when you see all that, you hear all that, it could be that he's being set up for failure, not because he's not going to be a good player or not going to be rookie of the year or any of that. It's just basically saying that, look, the expectations are so great. How in the world is he going to live up to them? That is the failure of it all.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too premature. I think if I'm looking at Wemby, I want to have that type of opinion maybe after 2-3 months into his NBA career. I want, because I don't want to jump the gun and heap negativity already. If you're Wemby, you're Spurs, you're Wemby's camp, you're block that out, block that noise out. You need to hear somebody already saying you're being set up for failure. Again, Draymond Green, let's make it very clear, everybody. Draymond Green was not, bagging on Wemby at all. As a matter of fact, he praised him, saying he's going to be a good defensive force, that he's a talent, that the kid has all the skills necessary, that he was not messing around with Wemby. He wasn't trying to do that. All he was trying to say is hey, these goals are so high that, in his opinion, that they're being set up for failure. And one example he gave is Wemby not being an all-star. That as far as a mark as, he doesn't think that the kid is going to be an all-star already. But even something like that, not making an all-star squad, you got to think man, could you consider even that a failure, quote unquote, as Draymond said, of Wemby in his first year, as far as not living up to that generational label expectation? You can see it already. What? Your number one pick and the guy's all that? He's not even an all-star, can't even make the bench? Come on, Wemby. You can hear that criticism coming.
No, you can hear it from a mile away. And I think that's what Draymond Green is saying, is that the expectations are so lofty that even being snubbed or not making the All-Star team would be seen as a bad thing. Who are the two other generational talents the Spurs have had? We've had Tim Duncan, we've had David Robinson. Both won Rookie of the Year. Both were also All-Stars in their first season.
Right.
The weird thing is that when you go back in time and look at the history of the All-Star game, and when it comes to rookies, 10 times in the 80s, a rookie made the All-Star team. 10 times. In the 90s, it happened 5 times.
Right.
Twice, 2 times with the Spurs, with David and with Tim. But when it came to the 2000s, the last almost 25 years or so, it's only happened twice. Yao Ming and Blake Griffin. So keep in mind, there's one name being left out of here, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Even LeBron James missed the All-Star team his rookie season.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, look, I appreciate what Draymond is saying. And I understand your side of it, saying like you get what he's trying to get at. But for me, I would just maybe tap the brakes slightly. Just like, hey, before we talk failure or being set up for failure, let's let the kid cook a bit. Let's let him, work his magic, if any, on an NBA stage. I don't know about you. You know what? Hold this thought. When we get back, we're going to talk about Wembanyama and expectations. And we're going to start off with the first stepping stone in his NBA career, and that's the Summer League. I have some questions for Jimenez regarding Wemby right here on Locked On Spurs with Michael Jimenez of the Acquired Taste YouTube show. You can find it on YouTube. Just simply search MJ Acquired Taste. Subscribe immediately. He's going to brag about his show later on this episode of Locked On Spurs. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices, and that path forward isn't always as clear. You go through your ups and downs. I go through it. I'm pretty sure Jimenez has his ups and downs on the daily or weekly or monthly. Problem is, navigating through life can be difficult. That's where BetterHelp comes in. You want to trust yourself to make decisions that align with values like anything else in the world. When I'm sure you practice it, you steer it right, you get easier in life. It's where BetterHelp comes in. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, and you can match with a licensed therapist. And you can even switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, kids, we are back right here on Locked On Spurs with our guest, Michael Jimenez of MJ Acquired Taste. Everybody applaud him and tweet at him and let him know that he did a good job by not, upstaging me and big-timing me. And he showed up on time. He's learning little by little. Congratulations, Jimenez.
I'm trying.
You're navigating life's path. Look at that.
I'm trying. I'm trying not to be a D-bag. My bad.
You're not. Well, first of all, you're never a D-bag. You're one of the best, the coolest guys I've ever met. You're one of my closest friends. So all good. By the way, shout out Pledger for coming in for you, tagging in a pinch. In a pinch, he came in. So way to go. But hey, speaking of expectations and failures and whatnot, Wembanyama, he already got it. I guess the first shot across the bow from Draymond Green. He's saying like, hey, is this kid being set up for failure? Already questioning him. It also goes to the target. I think Draymond Green is just kind of a taste of the target that Wemby's going to have on his back this upcoming season. But Summer League is starting, and Wemby likely is going to get his first NBA taste, at least on the Summer League level, this Friday out in Las Vegas. Buy or sell? Are we going to take with a big grain of salt, or are we going to throw it off if he has a bad game and vice versa? He has a good game. How buy or sell? The reaction should be huge or wait and see, regardless of how he plays.
I'm going to be a hypocrite about it. Okay. If he plays well, then it's a great thing. It's going to be like, look how good our guy is.
But define well.
Okay. Let's say he goes out there, gets 14, 15 points, in 20 minutes of play, blocks a few shots, gets 7 or 8 rebounds, is showing off a little bit, shows off his handles, plays well defensively, looks the part, right? Then we can say, that's our guy. That's our guy. But then we can also have the excuse if he plays poorly of, well, he was playing in France just up until about 2 weeks ago, right? And you can always throw that excuse out there, or he doesn't know the players around him. So there's a built-in excuse either way for Spurs fans, either on a positive scale or a negative scale. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, man. And people are looking forward to watching this game. I'm going to be checking out the ratings from ESPN on Friday night because, to make a point, I went on StubHub earlier today to see the cost for me to get tickets to the games on the 6th, right? It was going for $18 a ticket.
Okay.
The 7th, when Wemby is playing, cheapest seat with the fees, $225.
I'll do you one better. I went to the StubHub just to check it out. The most expensive was over $1,000 for his game.
For a summer league game where he might only play 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of his performance in game 1 of summer league for him, I'm really interested to see how either side reacts to it. So let's just say he does great, phenomenal, looking like the number 1 pick he should. Then way to go, Spurs, you did it right. You got yourself a generational player. Kudos. Right. But I feel anything less than that, Jimenez, he's going to get scrutinized.
And that's what Draymond Green was talking about.
Well, because think about this too. You know, look what happened to Brandon Miller. You had City Sissoko lock him up and made him look pedestrian in his debut. Although, you know, Brandon Miller said it was jitters, but he didn't look like the number 2 pick. And
jitters in Sacramento. Yeah, I am so disappointed.
He got bagged on pretty bad the next day. Although you could have fooled me with the way the highlights were talking about it on all the other outlets, sports outlets. But nevertheless, you know, there's that. Now imagine if Wemby wets the bed versus summer league talent. You know, look, I want to remind fans this. Tim Duncan summer league was horrible. Big country Brian Reeves outworked him. Big country. Yeah. And, you know, the rest is history, as they say, you know, Hall of Famer now. So I caution Spurs fans to not overreact if he has a bad game.
Well, there's a few things.
Overreact.
There's a few things. First of all, the court's different, right? Yeah. The dimensions are different. It's a wider court. It's a longer court.
You talking about the NBA?
The NBA court. Compared to FIBA. So it's a bigger court, okay? More room to maneuver, but still it's different.
Right.
The second thing is that the ball's different. The ball that they use in Europe is different than the ones that they use over here. So the feel, the touch, completely different. Now, European players will say that the spacing in the NBA game on the NBA court is better. They will also say that the basketball in the NBA is better than what they use in FIBA.
Okay.
But just because it's better doesn't mean that you're familiar with it, that you're used to it. On top of that, the lane is a little bit different. The way that they call officiating is different. It's a different game when they're coming over here. Now, I think it's going to be more advantageous over the long haul, but it might take a while for Wemby to kind of get acclimated to it. Sure. But then again, last year, he played against Scoot Henderson, right? He came to the U.S. and he balled out. Had more than 30 points in back-to-back games. So I'm offering the excuse there, but he has already done well here in the United States. And that was before he had an all-star season in France.
Sure. Yeah, another thing, too, is like he's going to be playing against guys that are gunning for an NBA job. And you can't tell me the best way to put your best foot forward to a prospective employee in the NBA is to show up the number 1 pick. You know, if some guy, random guy, you know, makes Wemby look like foolish on the court, you know, oh, look at this guy, you know, who's he? You know, he number 1
I'm waiting
pick.
for the day that Wemby's put on skates.
Yeah, exactly.
Happen one day.
And that's going to happen. Look, somebody's going to drop him. It's coming. Yeah. Just get ready. It's coming. Whether it be Scoot, whether it be Steph Curry, if he gets caught in some sort of pick situation, it's going to happen. But I guess circling back to, you know, set up for failure expectations and whatnot, we're going to get that first taste of Wemby on the court. So I'm going to be team, you know, take however he plays as just informational. It's not a judgment on his long-term NBA career. It's not even a judgment on his short-term NBA career, year 1. I think you have to, God, I mean, you know, do you think it's safe to say give him a pass if he doesn't play well?
No, what I would say is, does it look right? Okay, just because, I mean, there are some nights when Steph Curry has bad shooting nights, right? But does the ball come off the fingers correctly? Is his form looking good? Is he dribbling well? Is he making right decisions?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to, because you can only control so much. And sometimes the ball gets off the rim. Sometimes the ball goes in the hoop. So I'm not trying to give him a pass already. But what I'm going to say is that if he doesn't play well, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly. It's not going to be the end of the world. Right. Also, too, Jimenez, if he plays great, I would still, you know, take a breather and pump the brakes a bit. be like, okay, this is good. This is a good marker.
It's to build on because he can't win either way.
Yeah.
If he has a bad game, this is the whole Draymond Green thing from earlier in the podcast. Yeah. Draymond Green, he plays poorly. Well, what's wrong?
Yeah.
He's not as good as advertised. Exactly. He plays well. Well, these are end of the bench kind of guys and G League guys. Exactly. He can't win either way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, keep that in mind. Look, again, what Draymond said, I'm pretty sure you, listener, viewer, have thought about it already. Is this too much? Is this too much? Is this a lot? And again, you're hearing the good stuff from his camp, from him. Like he's used to this. I've spoken to French media on this show before. They've said that, all eyes were on him in France, and he handled it pretty well. Pretty good. The media, the paparazzi, to the games, to the fans, to living up to expectations. He guided the team all the way to the French League finals. He was just gassed at the end. That's why he came up short. So, yeah, all in all, Draymond Green wasn't saying anything egregious, but it is something to keep in the back of your head as Wemby continues his maiden voyage in the NBA. Hey, we're not done talking. We get back. We're going to talk about a small Spurs trade that they made yesterday. Involves the Mavericks and the Celtics and whatnot. Kind of gives us an idea of exactly what the short-term vision is for the Spurs. So we're going to discuss that and more right here on Locked On Spurs with our good friend Michael Jimenez of MJ Acquired Taste YouTube show. And we are back right here on Locked On Spurs with our guest, Michael Jimenez, the ever punctual Michael Jimenez, right here on Locked On Spurs. I got to get you back for that whole Zoom Uber Eats steak thing.
Oh, dude. Okay, first, that's what I'm trying to get back to be me. You got to taste, because you would always reach out to me going, dude, you're getting roasted on Twitter right now. You're getting roasted. And you've never had that taste.
No, I never had that taste. And it's still happening, by the way. Thank you. Jimenez.
Well, when I mentioned the fact that you wear expensive jeans and you get dressed up to go out, it started to resonate with people. People picked up on it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you were money bags.
That's not true. Stop.
I'm not saying that you are money bags.
I'm not.
But that was the nickname that you were given, that you were money bags, because you like to get dressed up. You like fine whiskey and bourbon. You don't like going to dives. You like going to
no. That's not true.
Oh my God, dude! No.
That is incorrect.
The number of times you and I have gone out, we've never gone to a dive. Stop.
Stop. Going on here before Jimenez starts spilling the beans right here on Locked On Spurs. All right, Jimenez, we got to talk about I guess a relatively small trade the Spurs made a couple days ago or yesterday. Time to listen to the show with Boston and Dallas. This is via ESPN. According to ESPN, the Spurs were part of a 3-team deal. You don't care about what everybody else got. You care about the Spurs got. They got a Reggie Bullock from Dallas. And they landed another draft pick, everybody. A first round, A first round pick is coming to San Antonio. It's a first round swap with Dallas. We know what they're doing. We talked about this on your show, MJ Acquired Taste. Are they still in a rebuild? You were coming at me saying, like, I heard you say they're still in a rebuild. I said, yeah, maybe it's a lowercase rebuild, not a big exclamation point rebuild. But this just goes to show you they're still acquiring draft capital. They're still making that. To me, that's a sign that they're still willing to acquire these assets for potential use down the road, whether it be to flip it, package it, or move it on draft day, whenever that comes. So Reggie Bullock also, too, I don't think he'll be a long-time Spur. He's a position that's kind of jammed up right now. But, again, draft capital being acquired by San Antonio.
Now, Reggie Bullock is a decent player. I mean, we've come across him for the better part of a decade. Mm-hmm. He's a decent player. Do I think he's going to make the Spurs roster this season? Probably not. Yeah. Okay, I'd give it like a 30 or 40% chance of that happening. But that 2030 deal, to get a pick swap. It's not for a first-round draft pick. It's for the rights to a swap. Very reminiscent to what the Spurs have done. I think we have one in 2028 as well. So we have a swap in our back pocket already. So that being said, I was doing the math on it because so many people reached out to me by DM, text message, and on Twitter asking the question, what do you think of this trade?
Yeah.
And I did the math. I got out my phone. I was going through my notes, and I did the math, and I did the equation that my daughter just got out of elementary school and is going to be a 6th grader in middle school. It's a momentous thing, right?
Right.
How far is 2030 away from today?
Long
the
time.
same month
Yeah.
that she graduates high school is going to be the month that we figure out whether this swap happens or not.
Right. Right.
That's how far out it is. My daughter will go through middle school and 4 years of high school before we determine whether or not that swap is worth anything.
Right.
But I will say this, though.
Go ahead.
Brian Wright has said in the past that he is making moves and trades for people who are in middle school and who are freshmen and sophomores in high school.
Right.
And that makes sense. And it just shows that he has a long-term plan in place as to what he's trying to do. He's trying to develop capital. And you never know what's going to happen when it comes to these picks. The Spurs right now, we have a pick in 2025 and a pick that are 3 picks in 2025, right? So we've got Chicago's and we've got Atlanta's, I believe, that year.
Yep.
We don't know where those are going to be, right? And it's so interesting. We're going to be cheering for them to lose. We're going to be cheering for Trae Young to break a leg. We're going to be cheering for certain things to happen because we don't know where they're going to fall. Right. So it's going to be amazing because we might wake up 7 years from now and look up and go, wow, we have a top 5 pick because on July 5th of 2023, 7 years ago, Brian Wright made a move where he got rid of a couple of second rounders.
For sure. Also, too, I think the other big component of this deal, it helped the Spurs reach that salary floor.
Yep.
So, they had to get to that floor by, I think, start of the season.
Start of the season.
So they hit it. So they're good. So I think those were kind of the 2 big takeaways for me is more draft capital and a pick swap with Dallas. And then, of course, hitting that salary floor. Reggie Bullock, I would like him to stay, a good 3-and-D guy. Yeah. But, the Spurs just picked up Cedi Osman. So that's another 3-and-D guy. Do you move from him? How are you going to waive him? How does that work? Of course, there's a logjam. There's Keldon. There's Devin. So, yeah, maybe he'll stick around a while. Maybe they can use him to flip. But I would not be surprised if he does not finish the season with the Spurs or last even preseason. Who knows? I don't know.
It's interesting seeing Brian Wright turn into Sam Presti.
Yeah,
he's basically becoming that guy where he's like, give me the contracts you don't want. You need to facilitate a trade. Give me some draft capital. And it's not sexy. It really isn't.
No, it's not. No, but
it's effective. And it's one of those things where the ammunition that the Spurs are getting are not coming in big bites. It's a little bit at a time, and the Spurs, I don't know how many second rounders they gave up in this whole equation, but the Spurs had over 20 stockpiled over the course of the next 5 seasons.
Wow.
The next 5 drafts. So because of that, them losing 2 is no big deal, or however many they lost.
Yeah, and that's to the chagrin of some Spurs fans. There's a segment of Spurs fans that are furious with the Spurs right now, saying you're sitting on all this capital and flippable players and all this money, and you're not making major moves now. You just hit the term on the head. You said long term, long game. That's exactly what the Spurs are doing. They're playing the long game right now.
And they've got so many expiring deals at the end of this season as well. So it's going to be a better free agency class next summer. So we had somebody on the show who had asked the question, do we feel comfortable with the Spurs punting on year 1 of Victor Wembanyama's 4-year deal here in San Antonio? And that's an interesting way of putting it, because in a way, that's what the Spurs are doing. But the Spurs are coming back saying, look, we don't know what we've got. We've got these young players, and maybe they can all grow together. We don't know what we've got, so why make moves yet now? We're not in any hurry. And so some Spurs fans think about it like as though they're punting, and other Spurs fans. So last year we had Team Tank and we had Team Play-In.
Yeah.
And James Pledger on your show the other day on Locked On Spurs was talking about the fact that now you have two different camps, which is team chips all in, or team play the long game.
Play the long game, yeah.
I think that more Spurs fans right now are on the play the long game camp, because I think a lot of Spurs fans are excited about certain players that are on this team and want to know what they've got when it comes to Ceedy, and when it comes to Branham, and when it comes to Blake Wesley, and all of these young guys. I think Spurs fans are very excited to see what they've got already on the team, and are willing to punt 1 year if that's what it's considered.
Also, too, you got to factor this as well. Is we're talking about making major moves to the roster and flipping now. At least that camp that is all about making moves right now. There's one move that still can impact the Spurs on the court, off the court, franchise, everything behind the scenes. Is Popovich. How much longer is he going to go? Is he going to finish out Wemby's rookie contract 4 years? That's going to be a major shakeup.
First of all, the answer to that is Wemby gets what he wants.
Right.
And for so many years, I've said, and we've all been of this belief that Pop calls the shots, and that Pop gets to walk out on his terms because he has 4 rings, 99, 03, 05, 07, 14, and he has the right to do so.
Yeah.
The second the Spurs won the draft lottery was the day that right was taken away. Because if Wemby's not feeling it, Pop ain't going to be here.
Can you imagine?
And it's the first time Pop has ever been in that position. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that Wemby is going to do that, or Wemby wants a change right now. But what I am saying is Wemby wants a change. Change is going to happen.
Well, the only thing I can think of that goes against that thought is, no, actually I don't. Yeah, that's a players' league now. It's a players' league.
We drafted our own LeBron James.
That's what he's being compared to. The last generational player was LeBron. This is it. Now the next one is him. We'll see. Expectations. You see? Expectations. But first of all, great headset. I don't know why everybody's making fun of your headset. I think that it's cool.
Yeah, I'm playing with the back of this Focusrite equipment here, wondering, can I get the cool and hip earbuds that you have, whether they fit in there, because people gave me so much crap about it. I'm wearing these headsets as though I'm calling a high school football game.
You do look like a sideline coach.
Yeah,
you do look like a sideline coach.
Like I need to have one of those menus that looks like Denny's. And then calling plays.
And you got to do this too. After you you just go like this, and then back down like that, and then move on. But no. I don't. It's just a personal preference. I don't like the big bulky things. I feel like I start sweating and starts itching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got these cheap dollar store headphones you can find at Dollar Tree, Jimenez.
Yeah, you got the Dollar Tree earbuds because you spent over $100 on a steak dinner that got delivered at your house.
Okay, so he is the Mike Jimenez of the Acquired Taste. Jimenez, we need you to brag about the Acquired Taste YouTube show. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so the Acquired Taste right now is going on from about 12 to about 1:15. The idea is beginning on August 7th, we'll turn it into a 2-hour show from 11 to 1. We're trying to fill in the gaps right now because local sports talk radio, the Ticket 760, San Antonio Sports Star, have no local programming between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So we're trying to fill the gaps because as the year unfolds, we're going to have Longhorns, Aggies football. We're going to have Cowboys and Texans. We're going to have the Spurs and Wemby and all of that going on. And we want to have local sports talk. So trying to fill in the gaps. We're going to slowly but surely make it a 2-hour show and then hopefully add another show to go from, let's say, 9 to 11 and cover a 4-hour block there of time so we can have local people doing local sports talk. And the show is not only sports, but we talk about pop culture. We talk about what's streaming, just funny things. I have Mariana coming on, who's very big on Instagram. She's going to be talking to guys about, hey, this is how you set up a dating profile. This is what you need to do. This is how you get a girl's attention. So it's random things like that. along with sports, along with pop culture, along with entertainment and nostalgic things. But it's pretty fun. We are live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. YouTube is where people can send in comments and basically be part of the show because I see those in real time on my screen. But again, if you go to YouTube, it's the Acquired Taste Sports and Pop Culture. Just type that in and you'll find it. And so far, so good. We're 3 weeks in, have 420 some odd subscribers. We're getting a little over 1,000 people watching per day. It's not bad. We're making some strides, and I'm having fun. And Jeff Garcia is oftentimes part of the mix.
Yep. Thank you very much for that opportunity too. Yeah, I love coming on. Yeah. By the way, even when I don't come on, I just still pop it on YouTube, and I can still interact with Jimenez, just sending him messages. And the good news about him, he'll read them on air. He usually catches like 99.9% of them. So I always have a fun time on the Acquired Taste show on YouTube. Make sure to follow Jimenez on Twitter. You see the handle right there on your screen at MJ Acquired Taste. Do that right now. What are we talking about tomorrow? Probably still talk about Wemby. Still more reaction to what Draymond Green had to say. Also get some reaction from the final game in Sacramento, and get you ready for Wembanyama's debut out in Las Vegas. Once again, we want to thank Michael Jimenez of the Acquired Taste hopping on this episode of Locked On Spurs. But for Michael Jimenez, the ever punctual Michael Jimenez, I should say, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to go ahead and put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.